Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is the show we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. Joining me today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon is the always endearing Miss Lisa Locke McGahee. Say hello to lovely people, Lisa.
Hello.
Alright guys, so if you're joining us for the first time, this is how the show goes. I'm going to run down some recent stories in the world of Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Harry Potter, miscellaneous, however you want, man. And then we're going to discuss them, and you guys fire back on social media or through our Gmail account. Let us know what you think as well. I think I'm ready to go. My belly is full. I'm about ready to explode from all the pizza we got from that pizza buffet. It was quite delicious, really, I think. But it always leaves me a little tired. So we better get this done now before I go. But I will tell you this. I was almost done, and I saw that chocolate chip pizza, and I was like, oh, I'm so full. I don't know if I can eat this. I took one bite, and I was like, move over, boys. It's coming in. Mm-hmm. It's so delicious.
Yes, it is.
So delicious. All right, so moving on to the actual topics. We're going to start with some Marvel news, guys. So, executive producer Laura Schuler-Donner has confirmed with IGN that the upcoming FX series Legion will not take place as part of the larger cinematic universe established in Fox's X-Men films. Instead, the series is going to be kind of by itself, not connecting to the greater X-Men movie world. She says this is due to the fact that they want to give series creator and writer Noah Hawley a little more control or freedom as to where the show and the characters go. She said it's going to be very self-contained, and you're not going to see any other characters from the movies such as Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy make any guest appearances. Now, if Legion touches on Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, it'll be kind of in its own way, although they don't really have any plans as of right now, in the first couple episodes at least, or in the first season, to really mention it too much. Now, for those you don't know, Legion's real name is David Charles Haller. He was created back in 1985 in Marvel Comics. The character is a multi-powered mutant who has a identity disorder, and each personality has a different mutant ability, which makes him a Omega level mutant. Legion is considered kind of an anti-hero in the comic books, but his multiple personalities make him kind of a little more unpredictable, and sometimes easy to manipulate by villains. He is also the son of X-Men leader Dr. Charles Xavier, which is kind of the big question in this series, is if they will actually bring that up early, or when they'll bring that up, or what they'll do with that. In any event, Legion premieres on FX February 8th, 2017. Now, I know you haven't been wowed by the trailers for this series.
I mean, they look okay.
But I think a lot of people are kind of liking the idea that it's going to be very different from your typical superhero film. I mean, just from this description alone, like Donner said, it's going to be very self-contained. It's not going to connect really to the big mutant community at large, but I'm kind of curious to see if they do bring in some characters. It's not connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I think is a good thing. Like I said, it gives her freedom, but also because of how messed up the continuity is in the X-Men movies, I think it's better that it's kind of on its own. Now, I wasn't totally on board with the series myself, but after this little description, thinking about the trailers, but also the description I just gave of the character of Legion as well, I think it could be pretty interesting. It could go one of two ways. I think it's going to be super interesting, or it's going to be super lame. We'll just have to wait and see about that. What do you think?
I mean, I think based on the description of the character, it sounds like it could be really interesting. I mean, especially if this kind of character with the whole, like mental illness and whatever. I mean, I think that this is a show that this character really could lend itself to like a real world type show. Where it kind of has more of the feel like some of those that you other ones, like some of the Netflix ones that you watch.
Yeah.
I feel like this character that with the whole mental illness thing can really have like real world. It can be set more in like a realistic type environment, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't sound like from this that means that they can't mention Xavier School. I think they're just trying to say none of the characters like the actors.
You're not going to see James McAvoy pop up.
Right, but I don't think that means that they won't be able to mention that this is Xavier's kid.
I think they should. I mean, I think they should at least mention the other mutants. Don't have to necessarily be in there. I mean, if they bring up Wolverine or whatever, I think that'll be fine.
Right, I mean, that's what I mean. I don't think that the description implies that they're not even going to mention Xavier's school. Like, they're just not going to go there, likely. Or if they did, they wouldn't run into any of the mutants that are in the movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that it sounds like it could very reasonably fit into the X-Men universe without having to cross over at all.
Yeah. And this is one of 2 X-Men TV series that kind of Fox is trying to get off the ground. Another one is kind of like a road trip like escape one where these parents find out that their child is a mutant and they're running away from the government to try to hide him. What's that movie? Midnight Special that came out with Michael Shannon and Kirsten Dunst last year. I haven't watched it yet, but it kind of seems the same aspect as that. I think Legion to me seems a little more interesting than that other one that's going to come out. Just based on the trailer and the fact that Noah Hawley, who is the guy who behind the show Fargo, which I heard is excellent. I haven't checked that out yet. But yeah, I think it could be interesting if done right. I'm interested to see something a little different, stepping out of the usual superhero norm, and just kind of giving it a different slant and seeing where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the character sounds very interesting. Cool. Just seeing what having each of his personalities have a different ability sounds very unusual. Like, I don't exactly know how it's going to work out, and so I'm curious to see how that works.
Yeah. So, cool. All right. So moving on to our next Marvel story, Sony Pictures has announced that their upcoming Spider-Man animated film that is set to be released on December 21st, 2018, will indeed be starring not Peter Parker, but Miles Morales. That's right. The fan favorite is said to star in the upcoming Spider-Man animated film that is going to be written and produced by Lego Movie creators Chris Miller and Phil Lord. Now, Miller and Lord promised that the movie will, quote, have a lot of heart, a lot of action, and a lot of laughs. The animated film is said to coexist in the live-action Spidey film projects, though it will, quote, exist independently of the projects in the live-action Spider-Man universe, all of which are continuing. Now, this is going to be Spider-Man's first fully featured animated film that's going to be up in theaters, and it's going to come about a year and a half after the upcoming live-action Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Homecoming, which is set to premiere this year on July 7th. A lot of people were excited about this in the comic book fan community. They've been asking for Miles Morales to make the jump from comic books to features or even a television series or something like that, because Miles Morales is a character very similar to Peter Parker, where he was, just an average teenager, got bitten by the spider, got Spider-Man's abilities, but they like the fact that he's a mixture of a Hispanic and black parents. So it goes into the more diversity in their cinematic world. And people are we're asking for that for Miles Morales to make the jump because of that a little bit too. Also because, again, he is kind of popular. I've read several Ultimate Spider-Man comics with Miles Morales. I think he's a good character. I've seen him interact with other superheroes in the comic books, such as in the latest Civil War 2. I think it really works, so I'm kind of excited to see the character, but it does kind of raise a couple of questions. The first one is, are people going to accept this character who is Spider-Man but not Peter Parker? It's kind of like, people like Batman, but the general public only knows Bruce Wayne as Batman or Clark Kent as Superman. You can't have anyone else be those characters and have them really not scratch their head saying like, wait, I thought Peter Parker was Spider-Man, in those regards. And the other question is going to be in regards to the fact that it's an animated feature. The last widely released animated superhero series film that we got was Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and that was all the way back in 1993.
What about that thing you went and saw last year?
Those were special screenings. That wasn't meant to be in wide release for several weeks. Those are the stuff they do now, like Batman the Killing Joke. Those are couple of nights or so.
That's not what this is going to be?
No. This is going to be, like, Moana or something like that.
Oh.
It's going to be it's going to be a series superhero film. It's It's going to be put out in theaters, wide release, thousands and thousands of screens.
You sure?
It's positive.
Okay.
Positive. So again, people are asking, as a superhero animated feature, we haven't seen one in a while, and it's mainly because they haven't really done that well. So first, can it succeed as a superhero animated feature? And secondly, can it succeed with Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker? Go for it, Lisa.
I think as somebody who doesn't know a lot about Spider-Man, and I would fall into probably the general public in this category. Well, not necessarily exactly general public, because I do live with you.
But you don't know the character that well.
Right, no, I agree. I'm just saying, I would think general public would be even less, they're even less knowledgeable about this. Right. So I feel like, okay, so if Teresa heard about this movie, she would, number one, have zero interest to go see a Spider-Man animated movie.
We'll make Nathan take her.
Nate. He goes by Nate.
Whatever.
Anyway, and then I don't know that he'd even want to go see a superhero Spider-Man film.
Of course he does.
Anyway.
We talk.
You talk about Spider-Man with Nate?
I know he's a superhero.
Anyway, let's move on. So then my next thing is the whole Miles Morales. I do think that it's going to confuse people. That's why Sony decided to stick with Peter Parker in the films. Mm-hmm. Because that's what people know. That's what you ask... If you went out, you know how Jimmy Kimmel does those things where he, talks to people on the street
and they have no
to find
common
out,
knowledge?
how stupid people are? Yeah. If he did that and asked about Miles Morales versus Peter Parker, or just said, who is Spider-Man? I guarantee you he would run into very few people who would, number one, be able to say, Spider-Man has been Peter Parker, but also Miles Morales. Isn't there another one, too?
There's Spider-Gwen.
Okay, so there's only two guys. They're the only two?
Technically there is a couple. There's Ben Reilly, who was a clone, yes. Okay, but
anyway, so I'm saying, I think that most people, very few people would even know that there, if he said, is there also a Spider-Man called Miles Morales? People would be like, I don't think so. They're not going to, I think that this, as a limited release would make sense, mm-hmm. because people like you and your brother and real comic book fans would want to go see this. But I think the general public is not going to be interested in a full-length Spider-Man animated film in the theaters, wide release, that does not star Peter Parker.
Okay, so...
Not because the character is diverse, but because they don't know who Miles Morales is.
Gotcha. But
I don't think the diversity is the problem.
I'm waiting to talk. I'm good? Am I good?
Go.
Okay, I'm good. All right.
See, because you're not even listening to me. You're just waiting to say something.
No, I'm totally listening to you. And I was trying to rebuttal your statement, but I kept getting interrupted. Anyway, I totally agree with you on the fact that, they won't know. But again, let's think of it like this. They're putting it in an animated form, which means they're not really trying to reach the parents. They're trying to reach the kids. Okay? It's going to be probably a little more lighthearted compared to what the live-action films will be.
The kids absolutely don't know who Miles Morales is.
That's true, but one thing that I loved, I'll credit DC for this, okay? A lot of their animated stuff recently, I feel like has been testing grounds for live action, okay? You came out with a Flash movie, animated movie, mm-hmm. And then a little while later you got the Flash TV series. You got a Justice League animated movie. A little while, you got a Justice League TV series. And then you got, just came out today, I think, the Justice League Dark animated movie, which, again, there's been talks about a Justice League Dark movie coming out. I feel like they're testing ground to see what people's interests are. And then that's what I feel kind of like this film is as well, is testing people to see if they're interested in Miles Morales for making that jump to the comic books or an animated film to the big screen, but also just getting people familiar with the character if they are ready to make that jump. Because let's remember, okay, you have Thomas Holland playing Spider-Man right now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's probably signed on for 5-6 films, okay, but as in the real world, people get older, people grow up, and he can't play Spider-Man forever. So just like in the comics, what they do, they brought in a younger teenage Spider-Man in Miles Morales. Maybe they're setting it up or getting people familiar with the character so that when Tom Holland's time is done, in comes Miles Morales, boom. Okay, that seems feasible. But also, and this also brings us another question for me, is regards to the live-action Spider-Man 2, is that in that trailer for Homecoming, we saw Peter had that friend with him, I forget his name. Mm-hmm. In the comic books, he looks like an exact interpretation of the friend that Miles Morales had, actually, who knew about his secret, who, told about all of his ventures, stuff like that. So I'm curious, in this animated feature, it looks like Spider-Man Homecoming does kind of play off of Miles Morales' origin a little bit. And I'm curious now if they do that in the live action, if they're still going to have that part of Miles Morales' story in the animated feature, or even...
Well, I think you're putting the cart before the horse here, since number one, you don't have any idea who that friend is, or if this Homecoming movie really has anything to do with Miles Morales' storylines. You made a huge leap I'm just saying, from this friend.
I know there's that friend that is exactly like Miles' friend in the comics, okay? So by putting him in the movie, it gives it that more updated, more Miles Morales origin story.
Except having a friend doesn't necessarily mean
when he looks exactly like he does in the comic books.
But what's it have to do with Miles Morales' origin story?
I'm saying, now that they put that in Peter Parker's live-action origin, can you take that same character that looks exactly like the guy that's going to be Peter Parker's friend and give him to Miles Morales?
Sure, you can give him a friend that looks similar. It won't be the same guy.
You don't know that.
I'm just saying, I think you're making a huge leap there.
I think I'm making decent leaps, okay?
Huge leap.
Huge leap.
Huge leap.
Little froggy hops is what I'm doing here, okay? Not,
Okay.
But in any event, the movie comes out, looks like set for December 21st. I'm curious the fact that it's got, Chris Miller and Phil Lord behind it. Exactly how it'll go gives me a little confidence, I think. But
I don't want to see it, so.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a lot of interest in Spider-Man.
By the end of 2018, that'll be prime age to take Nora, so it's all right. We'll go see Spider-Man without you.
That's
okay,
fine.
Great.
The Homecoming is the first one that's looked good to me in a long time. So.
Alrighty, guys. So last piece of Marvel news is in regards to the upcoming film Logan. Coming out on March 3rd. Now, on Thursday, a new trailer dropped for Logan. Lisa did not get a chance to kind of give her 2 cents about it because Josh and I did a review of that and Power Rangers on Thursday. So just a little brief summary, Lisa. What did you think about the newest Logan trailer?
I think it looks good. The trailer before this one, I still wasn't real convinced that I wasn't really sure yet what I thought about the movie, but this trailer I think did it for me. Like, I want to see it now. I think that showing the little girl what she could do, and that she is like Logan, I think it looks good. I thought it was really interesting, the dynamic that they show between her and Logan in the trailer. I don't really still know what the movie's about, which is fine. I don't like to know all that until I see it. You know me, I don't like guessing.
Well, they gave an official synopsis, though, remember?
Right, but still, it doesn't really... The trailer itself didn't really tell me what was going on, which is... I like that. I don't like to know. It ruins the movie for me. I like to go in and find out what's going on. I don't want to guess.
You don't want to speculate?
No, I don't want to speculate.
Right.
But I think this trailer looks really good. It definitely looks like it's a darker tone than most of the X-Men movies seem to be. Even compared to Days of Future Past, this one... looks like maybe it was just the way that it had the song playing and it just was kind of very bleak.
Yeah.
It had a very raw, bleak kind of tone to it, and I think it looks interesting. I can see why it's going to have an R rating.
Yeah. They just announced, actually, it's one of the things I was going to talk about, is they officially gave it the R rating a few days ago for, quote, strong brutal violence and language throughout and for brief nudity. So
I don't know why they feel like they need to keep throwing in brief nudity. We already saw Logan mostly naked in Days of Future Past.
And it was disgusting for you,
or
what?
No, but why? There was no need for it. We didn't need to see his butt.
Fine, they'll do Patrick Stewart this time, okay, guys?
I'm just saying, I think that sometimes when they throw nudity into movies, it's not necessary. It doesn't add anything. There are some films, I think, where the nudity makes sense. I don't see how in this one, or even in the other one where they had his butt in it.
Days of Future Past.
Right, it wasn't necessary. We knew he was naked. There was no reason to show his ass. I'm just saying.
I think some females and even some men might disagree with you.
I'm not saying it was not nice. I'm just saying it wasn't necessary. It doesn't add anything. I just feel like adding nudity for the sake of adding nudity is stupid. If you're adding, in a movie where, there are a lot of films where the nudity makes sense. It fits, where it would be weird if there wasn't nudity. It just didn't fit in, you know what I mean? In this case, it didn't make sense, and I just don't see how, in Logan, that it's going to be needed. That's just my little soapbox about nudity. It's, I just don't, there's a lot of cases where I just feel like It's added in just to be scandalous, and there's no reason for it to be there. Having the nudity in Days of Future Past, if that scene with his butt had been cut out, it would have done nothing to detract from the film. You know what I'm saying?
How are we supposed to know he has a butt if we don't see it?
Whatever.
Okay, anyway, move on to the actual story in regards to this film. Director James Mangold talked to Fandango about the upcoming film and about the recent trailer that came out that showed the character of X-23, aka Laura, doing a lot of ass-kicking, really. The actress who plays her is newcomer Daphne Keane. I know I messed that up. We'll just call her Keane for now in regards to the future part of the story. But anyway, it was kind of speculated, Lisa, that it might be a good... They're setting this character up for future films, considering that this is Hugh Jackman's last go as Wolverine, because in the last couple years in the comic books, the character of X-23 has taken over the mantle of Wolverine after Logan has died. So people are speculating that maybe this might be something similar doing to the movies. Since Hugh Jackman is no longer be playing Wolverine, they could be setting up X-23 to take, the Wolverine mantle. However, Mangold said that, quote, that's not the case. He said, in fact, that they weren't even thinking about it, really. He said, quote, I always feel like I'm making a one-off movie every time. My feeling is that if you can make a good film, it's naturally going to lend itself to people wanting to see sequels because it's good and the characters are rich. I really wasn't thinking about passing the torch. I know the studio wasn't because they didn't even know who X-23 was when I brought it up. Now, also talking about some of the relationships in the films, he went on to say that the two relationships that kind of going to showcase is the relationship between Charles and Logan, kind of the father-son relationship where the son has to take care of the ailing father, but also the relationship between Laura and Logan in this as well, in regards to the father-daughter relationship with a father who's kind of loath to have intimacy and an emotional connection with almost anyone he does not want. Now, the last bit here, Mangold went and hopped on Twitter in regards to the time frame of the film, said to be allegedly in the year 2029, 5 or 6 years after the epilogue in X-Men Days of Future Past. Said, quote, my goal was real simple. It was to pick a time where I had enough elbow room that I was clear of existing entanglements. When it comes to the X-Men, either in comic books or in films, timelines and realities aren't straightforward things. The time traveling in Days of Future Past provided the franchise with a reset button, undoing not only some of the events of the movie, but also The Last Stand. Realities are even further complicated by the appearance of the X-Men comic books within the world of Logan. With this, he kind of hinted at the scene in the trailer when Logan picked up the comics in the X-Men comics, so to speak, talking about how some of it didn't happen and if some of it did, it was only a quarter of it and all that stuff. So, James Mangold coming in, kind of clarifying things in regards to this movie about the future of X-23 and even the timeline in which the movie takes place. Do you think it's even a possibility, Lisa, that they are trying to set up a female Logan for future X-Men movies?
Well, maybe they're not trying to intentionally. I mean, like he said, the studio didn't even know who that character was when he brought it up.
I think it's stupid. They should know.
You think every person at the studio...
If you're making X-Men movies, you should know what's going on in X-Men.
Anyway. But I think if this movie does well, even if it wasn't their intention to replace Wolverine with her, I think it will probably happen. But... who knows? Well,
it's like you said after we watched the trailer on Thursday, you were like, she reminds me of Hit Girl.
Yeah.
Because, when you walked out of the movie Kick-Ass, what was your first impression? Hit Girl.
Hit Girl, yeah, for sure.
And I think that character could definitely make the same kind of impression with this film, possibly setting it up to be,
The only thing is, if they continue to move forward from this point... think about the ages of all the other people now. So it wouldn't be that they would be using her to reboot like Wolverine. Because if you think about it, at this point, this is year what? They say 2029?
2029.
So this is, at this point, even the young characters, the ones that were in school, from what we know, like if you're thinking about Rogue and
Cyclops. Yeah.
No, not even, I mean, I'm thinking of the original ones. Not Cyclops.
Like Rogue, Iceman,
Kitty.
Right,
them. If you think about, like, that original timeline, if this is now 2029, even those people would be like, what, in their 50s?
Probably.
So, and then if you think about the new timeline with, like, where Cyclops and Jean and them are still kids, even them, they'd be, what, in their 30s or 40s?
No, even more so, because they were teenagers during the 80s, so, yeah, you're talking 40 years later.
Oh,
so
yeah,
so
even them. So no matter what, she couldn't necessarily jump in and replace Wolverine, because she'd be surrounded by all new characters now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. It would have to be... So, I think if her character works, then next time they reboot, maybe they'll have her being young the same time as the rest. I mean, I don't really know. It doesn't really necessarily make sense for her to take, like, for him to be passing the torch to her, because it would be an entirely new X-Men cast then.
Okay. I'm about ready to blow everything you just said out of the water. Ready? X-Men is known for time travel.
Right,
okay?
right, but they're not going to time travel the entire cast.
No, but, okay.
You mean, like, send her back in time?
You have characters like Cable, Bishop, Rachel Summers, who will all come from the future. And given the fact that Cable's going to be in an upcoming Deadpool film, they're going to have to introduce time travel. Excuse me, I couldn't get that out in. So what if, say, in the year 2039, this character X-23 is grown up and then goes back in time?
Right, but if she went back in time then, she'd be coexisting with Wolverine. He would still be there.
Unless Wolverine dies. We don't know. The timeline's all messed up. I'm just saying it's a possibility that this character...
I'm just saying, if they even in that, if they time travel her back to the characters we know, those characters are interacting with Wolverine.
But the last time we saw Wolverine, he ran off, aka X-Men Apocalypse, so there is no Wolverine on X-Men now. You take this character, take him back to the time when Cyclops, Jean Grey, and then we're there. It's all messed up. I know that. Okay, that I will say those are big leaps. Okay, those weren't little froggy leaps I just did. Okay, those were big giant Hulk leaps. Okay, I'll give you that. I'm just saying, just because it's the future and she doesn't match up age-wise, don't think there's not a way around it.
All right.
All right, so that's all the Marvel news we got for today, guys. There was one little story about DC, but given the fact that we're getting run low on time, and I know we have a couple of big stories still to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and skip this one and just say that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said that the upcoming Shazam and Black Adam characters might actually be featured in 2 different movies, not just one, which is Shazam. I say we could talk about it, but there's really not much to talk about, really. So we can just move on from there.
Yeah, the story seems like it's mostly speculation right now.
Yeah,
anyway.
it is. It is, exactly. So,
and you know how I feel about that.
Of course. All right, so let's move on to the big announcement that happened yesterday. Lucasfilm has officially announced the title for the next Star Wars film, Star Wars Episode 8, as Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now, this, of course, doesn't really give us any more information really about what the plot it is, but of course, lucky for you, this is a show about speculation, so we can talk about it a little bit. Now, people are thinking this term, The Last Jedi, refers to Mark Hamill's character of Luke Skywalker, who's been living in self-imposed exile and wasn't seen until the final moments of The Force Awakens, or it could be referring to Daisy Ridley's Rey, who has a connection to the Force and delivered Luke his lightsaber and looks like will be trained as a Jedi by Luke in the next film. The film comes out December 15th, starring Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and many, many more. Lisa, you saw this yesterday just like the rest of us. What do you think of The Last Jedi?
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on what they're trying to say. I mean, The Last Jedi, does it mean like The Last Jedi as in like the last one we talked about, which is probably Luke? Does it mean the last one is in the last one for forever? Like, the last is in There Will Be No More? Because they keep saying that, and then we keep finding Jedis. So, I mean, even if you think about in the original trilogy,
Yeah,
you
thought Yoda and Obi-Wan were the only ones.
Right, and then you find out that during that same time, there's Kanan and Ezra, and, Ahsoka's still out there, and,
what we know.
Anyway, I'm just saying, it seems like whenever we say that the last Jedi, like, there always seem to be more. Mm-hmm. And even we don't really know still what happened with the other Jedis that Luke was training that the Knights of Ren
Well, we
killed.
assume
Maybe some of them
because
got away too. I mean, with
we're
whole
assuming that as well. Yes.
right. I mean, with Order 66, it didn't get them all.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some escaped from there too. So I mean, I think whenever they play with the last, it always seems to be that it's not really true.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think they're probably referring to Luke.
Okay.
Because I think this movie's going to be about Luke.
Yeah. Okay. So there's two pieces of information I'm going to throw in here, and then we'll play with this a little bit, okay? So someone brought up the line from The Force Awakens when Snoke said, "The droid will soon be delivered to the Resistance, leading them to the last Jedi," which he was referring to Luke. So that kind of goes to think that, okay, the last Jedi is a reference to Luke Skywalker. But let's also remember that the plural for Jedi is Jedi. So it's not just talking about one person. I think maybe it's a reference to both Luke and Rey, perhaps.
Maybe.
Could be. And then, of course, everyone's fear is that this means that maybe by the end of the film, we will have only one Jedi, which is probably going to be Rey, and people are fearing the death of Luke Skywalker. I know I am, because we've waited 30 years to see Luke, and then we have to wait 2 more because he got 30 seconds in The Force Awakens.
True.
So I would like him to stick around at least till episode 9. I have a feeling that by the end of episode 9, all the original 3 are going to be gone, which sadly is probably going to happen. But I would like to see him stick around a little longer, possibly. But I can see this being a reference to both Rey and Luke. Again, given the fact that Jedi, the plural for it is Jedi. But I will have one minor fanboy, crybaby, minuscule thing to say. When you're talking about the Star Wars films, of course, you have to refer to the title of the episodes: A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Now, if you're down with the slang like I am, okay, usually you like to use one word for each film. You could say Hope or Empire or Jedi.
We already have Jedi.
Exactly. So now this film is
Ruins
The Last
it.
Jedi. So now when you say Jedi, are you referring to episode 6 or
Yeah,
episode
but
8?
episodes 1, 2, and 3, you can't really do that.
Phantom, clones, Sith.
But that's not what people do.
Of course they do. I do it.
I only hear people do that
Look,
with the first
I
three.
told you, I'm down with the lingo, okay?
All right,
you're not on my
whatever.
level, okay? You're getting there, but not quite, okay? So all I'm saying is that this is going to mess up the shorthand, slang of each title, and it didn't irk me a little bit, but The Last Jedi, okay, that sounds pretty good. It does sound kind of ominous as well, though. Rey's coming back to Luke to try to build up the Jedi Order once again, and maybe they won't be successful this time either. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see about that one. So, hey, anything else you want to talk about this?
No.
All right, so moving on to our other Star Wars story. In the latest episode of Star Wars Rebels, titled Trials of the Dark Saber, Kanan referenced the Mandalorian Wars when he was training Sabine. Now, this led a lot of people to speculate about the Old Republic storylines hopefully coming to promise in this new canon. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Mandalorian Wars was a feature in the old Star Wars Republic video game. Now, this reference by Kanan in Star Wars Rebels gives people hope that there might be actually Old Republic stuff coming up, or that the Old Republic video game that is so beloved might actually be part of the new canon. Now, to give you guys a little bit of history lesson, the Mandalorian Wars were about when the Mandalorians raided star systems in the Outer Rim territories for over a decade before they actually came into conflict with the Republic military. Now, this all took place almost 4,000 years before Episode 4, A New Hope. So, just to give you some little bit of time perspective here. After a year of small conflicts known as the False War, the Mandalorians invaded the Republic through 3 separate corridors in what to be known as the Onslaught. The tide ultimately turned when a group of Jedi, led by the charismatic Revan, joined the Republic military in fighting the Mandalorians. During driving back the Mandalorians, Revan forced a final showdown with Mandalore the Ultimate at the Battle of Malachor V. Revan was a Jedi who found his way to the dark side and became known as Darth Revan, but never really firmly stood one way or the other. He's what referred to as a gray Jedi, which is something that is referred to by Quaylen Voss during the Clone Wars times as well. Since the Mandalorian Wars were referenced in the most recent episode of Rebels, people are assuming that he is bundled into this Old Republic reference as well. So, Disney Lucasfilm, not quite sure if they have any plans to bring in Old Republic, but a lot of people are saying if there was ever a Star Wars TV show or even another spin-off trilogy, Old Republic is really what they want to see. Now, I have played a little bit of the Old Republic game, not a lot, but I love the Old Republic trailers, okay? If you go on YouTube, type in Old Republic movie, it's about 5 or 6 different trailers for the Old Republic video game. The graphics are phenomenal, the stories look phenomenal, and if you just watch that half-hour mini movie, it's better than any of the prequel films, I'll tell you that much. So, just by that alone, I would be totally excited to have the Old Republic into it. For those of you who, might not be as excited, let me tell you this way, kids. Imagine Game of Thrones on an intergalactic level. That's what it's all about. That's what gets you really excited. Lisa, what do you think of this idea? Well, first off, let's go.
I don't know much about the Old Republic.
You've seen some of the clips, though, right?
I mean, I've seen a few of them, yeah.
So, based off the clips you've seen, does it look a little exciting or something you might want to explore more?
Well, I mean, I don't know. The clips are, I guess, maybe I've seen very many, because I think, from what I've heard about it, and even, like the things that are referenced about the Old Republic and some of the books that are not canon anymore that I've read, like they talk about some of the old stuff in like Darth Plagueis and some of that stuff. Like I know I've heard of Darth Revan. Like I've heard of this character.
He's a prominent character. But remember, you referenced the Darth Plagueis. Remember, that's old canon.
I know. So. I just said that they're not canon anymore.
Okay.
And so I know that's not canon, but the Old Republic is not canon.
No, not officially. But people are seeing that this reference might make it canon, or hoping that they will bring it back to make it canon.
The reference isn't going to make it canon, but the reference might mean that they're planning to bring it into, or at least bring the Mandalorian Wars. I mean, they definitely have some plans to go into some more of the Mandalorian history.
Aside from we're definitely going to see Mandalorian history with, Sabine.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like in Rebels, like they're definitely going into Mandalore. Like, they talked about Mandalore a lot in the Clone Wars, but it was all like what's going on in Mandalore right now. But this one, they're talking about the past. Like this is bringing in the past. So. It's just mentioning it doesn't make what was there about Mandalore canon. Like, they would have to reintroduce all of that in the way that they want. But, I think that they've shown, especially in Rebels, that they're not afraid to bring in
Legends
bits and pieces and then make it how they want. Like, when they brought in... Thrawn, right. Like, he's not the same Thrawn that he was in the books. It doesn't fit properly. The character is similar, yes, but the situations are all different.
Okay, I give you that, but the character, I'm not talking about the situation, but the character is very similar to how he was.
Right, but what we're talking about now is all situation. Okay. Mandalorian Wars is all situation. It's not about a specific character. It's about what happened. That would be a big storyline. So I think if they're going to bring that in, I think Rebels can do it. But it's certainly not going to be everything that happened, and it's, I would imagine, not going to be the same.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw out some more speculation for you, okay? So, as we know, several months back, Dave Filoni kind of took a step down in regards to his control on Star Wars Rebels. Some people are saying it might be leading to another project for his, whether it be a live-action movie that people want. I think he's taking a step back because he's preparing for the next Star Wars animated series after Rebels. As we know, Rebels, it's playing very close to that A New Hope, Rogue One timeline, and it's in 3 seasons now. I don't see Rebels going past season 5, given the fact that it takes place, it started...
It's so close to,
It started 5 years before A New Hope / Rogue One, so if it goes 5 years, it'll be right there with it. So I give it 2 more seasons, So it's my feeling that maybe Dave Filoni is prepping for the next animated series or the next series after
Do you think it'll
Rebels.
be the Old Republic?
I'm not saying yes, but I would be totally down if it was. I look, fans, hardcore, old school Star Wars fans are clamoring, are drooling for something Old Republic just as much as they want a Obi-Wan standalone film. So, given that, I mean, I gotta think something's coming down the pipeline. To be honest, whether we get it in book or comic book or animated or whatever, I think something Old Republic is definitely going to surface sometime with some announcement within the next few years is definitely going to come out, I believe.
I vote for a book.
Okay, well, there you go. I vote for a movie trilogy, or TV series, because that's what I'm into. So, in any event, that's about it as far as Star Wars news, guys. So, we have a teeny little bit of Harry Potter news. Just a tiny story I want to go over real quick, since we don't talk a lot of Harry Potter here, and we have a Potterhead among us. So, J.K. Rowling recently spoke on Twitter to kind of deny reports that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child will be turned into a film trilogy. She said... Cursed Child. Sorry, I always get that wrong,
You always
too.
get it wrong.
I always do. So, she said that, quote, there are no truth to the rumors. Now, as of right now, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is a 2-part stage play with performances in London's West End and will make its American debut at the Lyric Theatre in New York City in spring 2018.
So have we booked our tickets yet?
Well, hey, you're the planner. Get on it, okay? However, Rowling herself has confirmed there is no plans as of right now to turn the play into a film. Now, the play is written by Rowling, Jack Thorne, and John Tiffany, which takes place 19 years after the epilogue of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Follows Harry, now an employee of the Ministry of Magic, and his son Albus, a student at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The play is said to be considered the official 8th Harry Potter story. The Harry Potter and the Cursed Child has earned critical acclaim during its London run. The script book, published back in July, has sold more than 2 million copies in the United States and Canada during its first 2 weeks of release. Now, Lisa, of course, you're being the Harry Potter fan that you are, and having read the script book and all that jazz, what would you say to another film with Harry Potter?
I think it'd be a great film. I really enjoyed this play, like in the book form, because obviously I haven't seen the play, but I thought that the book, the script was great. The whatever it's called, whatever. I thought it was a great story. I think it would be an amazing film. And I think particularly if we did it, like, say we waited another 5 or 10 years.
10 years, let Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson grow up a little.
Right. Let them all get to be the right age for the characters so that they were, like, still the right age. I think that this would be a great film. I haven't heard any rumors that they were going to make it into a film, so I don't know where that story is from.
Just people are bugging her on Twitter about it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it would be a great film, but I think they should wait a little bit longer. I mean, yeah, until those actors are the right age.
Yeah, and let's not forget too, I think Warner Brothers and Rowling's focus film-wise is the Fantastic Beasts movie adaptations right now. Rowling herself is busy, writing the story for those. Warner Brothers wants to try to open up the world a little bit with that film trilogy and give us a little more introduction, and want us to more focus on that. I think maybe when they're done with that, then they might turn their heads maybe back to more Harry Potter stories.
Right. I mean, because obviously their goal is to expand the universe. Like, that's what they're trying to get away from Harry. And so, I mean, I think that makes sense to keep going on with the Fantastic Beasts. The movie, the film did well. It was well received. That Harry Potter fans, we liked it. I mean, it wasn't Harry Potter, but I liked it. I didn't dislike it at all. I didn't love it the way that I love my Harry Potter books. What I would love is to see the Cursed Child and the Fantastic Beasts screenplay. I would love to see those novelized. Like, actually in a real novel. But that's me, the reader. I would rather than be... I mean, I liked reading it, but it's different reading a play
it's a script,
and reading a screenplay than it is reading an actual novel. To where you have, what's going on in their heads, and you have descriptions and stuff. So, I mean, I would love to have a movie of this in, 10 years or so down the road. But I would rather have a novelized version. Mm-hmm. But I think she's already said she's not doing that. So.
Yeah, I mean, dump trucks of money can talk volumes. I'll tell you that. And so we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, I think she's focused on the other Magic World trilogy. So we'll just have to wait and see about that.
I mean, and I'm definitely curious to see where Fantastic Beasts is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
Especially if they're going to be bringing. Like Dumbledore back in, especially as young Dumbledore. I'm curious to see where it's going to go, because it's still going to be tied into some characters we know, while still being mostly characters we don't.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. All right, Dumbledore's going to be brought in. He's going to have a beard. Okay, there's going to be a huge war. The wizards have to choose sides. At the end of it, he cuts off the limbs of his former apprentice and best friend. Right?
The limbs.
The limbs.
He doesn't cut off his limbs. Grindelwald has all his limbs in the Harry Potter world already. We've seen him in the movies. He's in.
You totally missed my reference.
Oh, well, whatever.
He has a beard. He gets caught up in a war. They have to choose sides. He ends up cutting off the limbs of his former apprentice.
It wasn't a very good joke, because he's in the movie.
People who know me laughed at that because they knew what I was referencing. But
whatever. In
any event. But yeah, I'm just going to say it, throw it out there. Of course, bringing in a young Dumbledore seems very reminiscent of bringing in a young Obi-Wan for the Star Wars prequels. But that's just me. Mm-hmm. To me, everything goes back to Star Wars. So that's just how it is. So, all right, guys. So I got a couple other miscellaneous stories we're going to talk about real quick before we wrap everything up. In recent news, looks like actor Thomas Jane has joined the cast of the upcoming Predator film. The Hung and Punisher actor will join Michael Key, Trevante Rhodes, Olivia Munn, and Sterling K. Brown in the upcoming Shane Black film. Now, Black, who wrote the script with co-writer Fred Decker, has confirmed that the film remains in the continuity of the first two Predator films and isn't a full reboot of the series. The original Predator film starred Arnold Schwarzenegger as the leader of a United States Special Forces team that comes under attack from an alien entity that prizes the thrill of the hunt above all else. The 1990 sequel, Predator 2, starred Danny Glover and saw the Predator on the streets of New York. And then since then, we've had the Alien Predator franchise films, Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem. And in 2010, I don't know this director's name, Nimrod Antal.
Nimrod? His name is Nimrod?
Nimrod.
Are you sure that's his
Look,
name?
it's right there. That's his name, Nimrod. Like the futuristic X-Men Sentinel. But anyway, he did a reboot back in 2010 called Predators that starred Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne. I forget when this film is supposed to come out. I don't think it actually has a set date yet. But this is kind of interesting, the fact that Alien is getting off the ground and doing another reboot. Now we have Predator coming back as well. I myself am a fan of the Predator franchise. I like the first two films. I actually liked the 2010 remake. The first Alien vs. Predator film, I don't remember if I saw it in theaters. I did see it, and I actually kind of liked it. The other one, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, okay, me and my brother used to have a tradition where we would go see a movie together on Christmas Day, on Christmas night, okay? One time we went and saw Night at the Museum. Another time we went and saw Alien vs. Predator Requiem. What a piece of crap it was. My brother was all into it, because he likes that type of film and the horror films and all that, but that was such a piece of crap. But in any event, the other Predator films I have enjoyed. I'm anxious to see what they do with this one, especially since they're in continuity with the other two films. Lisa, have you seen any of the Predator movies?
I saw the Danny Glover one.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only one I've seen.
It's got Gary, you've seen it too.
And I'm not 100% sure I even saw the whole movie.
I got a little crazy.
But you know me, I'm not into movies like this.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen any of the Aliens movies. I don't really like movies like this. They're just not my thing.
Yeah. So actor Thomas Jane, though, he's done some credible stuff. So throwing his hat into this ring, I think gives a little more credibility, perhaps. The other actors they've got, I don't think adds too much to it. A lot of people really don't take Olivia Munn very seriously. Given
Well, she
the
hasn't made
movie
very
roles.
good
Yeah.
acting choices.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think that I really liked her in Newsroom.
See, that's it.
She was great in Newsroom.
Everyone gives her credit for the Newsroom. When people are like, "Oh, they see her movie," she's like, "Ugh."
But I don't know that the movie problem is her necessarily.
No.
I think she's chosen bad movies, and even when she's chosen like good movies, like I mean, I liked Apocalypse, but I didn't like her character. And I don't think it was necessarily her acting. I don't like how they wrote her character. I didn't like the character arc. It was weird. Like I don't think that they used that character appropriately. So I don't think that it's necessarily. But this is again not a great choice.
Yeah. So
she's trying to build a career. Like
yeah, she's not got a good, not a strong foundation. But at the same time, of course, maybe that's just the role she's
getting offered.
So it all takes is one role, to turn it all around. She just hasn't found it yet. I think Newsroom should have turned it around,
I know.
given her performance in that, but I guess it wasn't enough. So, all right, guys. So moving on to the last story of the day in regards to the upcoming Star Trek series. Now, Star Trek Discovery was set to make its debut this year in May on CBS, and then all the rest of the 13 episodes of the first season was set to be available on CBS All Access, the CBS streaming service. But it looks like, according to multiple outlets, that Star Trek Discovery won't make its planned May debut. Now, the statement from CBS All Access says, quote, "We love the cast, the scripts, and are excited about the world the producers have created. This is an ambitious project. We will be flexible on a launch date if it's best for the show. We've said that from the beginning. It's more important to do this right than to do it fast." Now, in addition to this news, they also said that they have cast another actor for the series. Playing Spock's father will be the actor James Fran. He is known for credits such as The Tudors, Orphan Black, Tron Legacy, and he recently did a role on Gotham as the vigilante Azrael. The show was first announced back in November 2015 when Pushing Daisies and Hannibal veteran Brian Fuller was set to be the series showrunner. However, he has since left the project, and now it's just kind of in limbo, really, as far as I don't think they ever really got another showrunner, if I remember correctly. They've got the cast is building. They've been announcing a lot of casts for this in recent weeks and months and stuff like that. But I have yet to hear anything about production really actually underway, or what all it's going to entail. So, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see this new Star Trek series anytime this year? Because I'm kind of doubtful at this point.
Honestly, I don't think I even remember that they were making it. So, I mean, but I don't know. Like the Star Trek, I never liked Star Trek. I never liked any of the Star Trek stuff. I've tried to watch the movies. I've tried to watch the old TV shows. I mean, I never could get into it. I couldn't. So the new films were the first time I ever had any interest in Star Trek, and I really liked them. But I still can't quite wrap my head around another series. I've tried to watch several of their Star Trek series, not even just like the old ones. I mean, like I watched a bunch of the episodes of the one with Scott Bakula with Ian once, and I just don't. I'm just not into it.
I'm the same way. I tried on several occasions to watch Enterprise starring Scott Bakula. I watched the most of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which there are quite a few episodes.
That's the one with Patrick Stewart,
yeah,
right?
that's the one I find the most entertaining. But I've tried several times to not just watch random episodes, but to try to start from the beginning, and I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't do it. I've never been able to get into it. So the thought of even though I like the new movies, I still just can't see that I'm gonna like a new show.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but
I think because of the new movies and the style they're going with, I think maybe that Paramount or CBS are going to try to adapt more of that formula as opposed to the older formula, because they see that with the new movies, kind of the direction they've gone, they got more of an interest in them than just the hardcore Star Trek fans.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so we'll see. I mean, whether or not it's going to come out whenever. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just getting dragged along because they're trying to make sure that people are going to want to watch it. I mean, I don't know.
That's what they say. But
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's Star Trek has obviously it has a big fan base. I mean, it's not Star Wars, but but you know what I mean.
It has been along longer than Star Wars.
It has, but I think that just if only the fanboys watch it, I think it would still be fairly successful. I think that they're trying to reach more people than that, though.
Yeah,
so they're just delaying to
which
make.
I don't get why they're putting it on the All Access channel if they're trying to reach more people. Why not just put it on CBS? You know, as like a full series.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Oh well. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Let us know what you think about the topics we brought up. What do you think about the new Star Trek series? Let us know what you think about the Star Wars title. And are you excited for Logan to come out as well? Let us know in regards to that. And of course, let me know what you think about Voltron Legendary Defenders Season 2. From my review, you can tell that I really enjoyed it. So hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And fire back and let me know what some of your theories are on Season 3. And that's going to be it for us, guys. So until next time, may the Force be with us all.